This is a free sample of the book Benefit from Your Breakup by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/breakup. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/breakup.
Chapter 1. Why Recovery Takes So Much Work. The great thing about this profession of coaching troubled young men is that you hardly have to do any advertising. When guys are in pain that is intense enough, they'll seek out the answers on their own. And if you have them, they find you. All we need to do is the one thing that no one else is doing: care. When males hit these crises in their lives, society and communities show their true colors, that they don't give a shit at all about the emotional well-being of males. The girl moves on right away, acting as if the man she dumped never existed, and never was there an emotional investment. The mutual friends and acquaintances all take her side, or are understanding of her decision, even if her reasoning was something so vain and vague like she just wasn't happy. The fempowerment mandate states that she must be, even if it is at the expense of a man's happiness. So be it. The world tells women, you do what's right for you, girl. But then it tells men, you do what's right for her. You do what's right for your family. The message is clear. Women can do whatever they want, and men must accept even what they don't want. Worse, even the guy's male friends will probably abandon him post-breakup because they're thirsty simps that think they have a chance now with his ex-girlfriend. There's just no social support for him anywhere. Most times, no one even bothers to check on the guy afterwards. The social imperatives put upon him are that he is to just move on stoically and without a stutter in his step. Man up. Walk it off. Take it like a man. But they do have one resource available to help them. The Google search engine, where they'll type in things like, how do I get my girlfriend back? Or how to get over a breakup. A search query was how my first post-breakup client in my personal coaching practice found me. His name was Jason, and he was recently dumped by the woman he thought he was going to marry, Katie. They had met at dance class, where he literally swept her off her feet. After all, she went home with him that night. They met and slept over. The next day, she told her friends that she was head over heels in love with him. He did have a lot going for him. A respectable job, his own house, a paid-off car, a strong social circle, and was a great dancer. Further, other women wanted him, so by virtue of female nature, she wanted him too. Things were really hitting off when they started dating. It was non-stop outings and sleeping over at each other's houses. They confessed their loves for each other 2 months in and got matching necklaces. Jason even got close to her son, and that's saying something because he was like most guys, not wanting to be responsible for another man's child. But things began to take a bad turn. They would argue, and often over incredibly stupid things. It was the intensity of the arguments that really set things on fire. The hurtful things they'd say to each other would cut deep. An injury is sooner forgotten than an insult, and women never forget a bad thing said, even after great makeup sex. What really started the downward spiral was that he'd dance with other women at the class. Katie didn't like that. At first, she was accepting of it because, 1, he was one of the best dancers, so the teacher often encouraged him to do it, and 2, there were lines of girls wanting to dance with him, but it made Katie feel so insecure about herself because the other girls often danced better than her. Then at his job, he was often yelled at by everyone from the customers to the managers. It put him in a bad mood a lot, where he often complained to her or had a negative outlook on things. This really got her upset and sparked a lot of arguments, and those arguments got hot. She was upset that his bad mood brought her down. He was upset that she didn't lift a finger to help cheer him up, like we'd hope and expect a partner to do. She often started these arguments in text messages back and forth while he was at work, which he really couldn't stand. He needed to focus and be on point at his job, but when she pulled this, he had a great emotional distraction. Not only was his relationship in trouble, but his job performance was suffering as a result. He was denied promotions and often scolded by his boss. One day, the text war got so bad that she dumped him by text while he was at work. For the first few days, he was relieved. The reality of the situation and pain of it hadn't hit him. It was great to have his freedom back, to be able to dance with other girls and not take shit for it. But after a week, it sunk in. This relationship he made such a great emotional and financial investment in all went poof. Many of their mutual friends sent all their support exclusively to her and none to him. She got everything out of the breakup, and all he was left with was this mentally taxing job that was getting harder by the day. He decided to try to repair things. He visited her at her house, but she wouldn't let him in. They stood outside talking. He tried to get a conversation going, but she responded with cold indifference. She even tossed many of his things back at him, such as shirts of his he gave for her to sleep in, which she adored at the time they were given. But he left her house in defeat. She had told him she wasn't coming to dance class again, but the next time he saw her, he was taken by surprise when she showed up to it. He was trying to heal himself dancing with other girls, but now taken out of the zone by seeing her dolled up and dressed to highlight her beauty, and now dancing intimately with another guy. A move made to twist the knife in his heart. He left in defeat again. Staying home from class for many more weeks, afraid she'd be there to twist the knife again, he went deeper into his depression. One time he even sent her a long message on social media, spilling his guts. He told her how much it hurt him to see her become so indifferent to him, how much he missed the good times they had, and even listed each of them one by one. He begged for a chance to rekindle at least a friendship together. Her response was short and cold, and the gist of it was no. Things had gotten so bad that he was calling in sick to work or leaving early claiming to be sick. He dared not tell his boss what was really going on. Expressing the pain we feel as a result of a heartbreak is viewed as childish or immature. This is perhaps the worst salt in the wound, dished out at the worst possible time. How cold society is when it comes to men in emotional pain. While we all have experienced heartbreak and emotional pain in some way, shape, or form, the social imperatives towards those in it are downright dismissive. They care not, particularly when it comes to men. The world offers us nothing else to cope with. Thus we feel as though we can do nothing else but sit and wallow in it. As we ache with emotional pain, self-criticism begins, and the social imperative says we should somehow just keep calm and carry on. We should function normally despite something psychologically abnormal occurring. If we had lost a parent or a child, the story is different. The world shows some sympathy, work gives you time off, and friends are likely to check in on you. Sometimes that's even the case with a divorce, but breakups come with no such luxury. The support given after a death or a divorce is merely obligatory. In those tragedies, there are financial ramifications that need to be sorted out. That is the only reason the world feigns compassion. But when you've been dumped by a girlfriend with whom you've made tremendous emotional investment in, society couldn't care less. This lack of support only intensifies the pain. After 3 weeks of leaving early to go home and grieve, Jason's boss finally called him out on his absences. "What is going on with you?" she demanded. He finally spilled his guts again and told her he was dumped. No compassion was returned, even as his eyes were filling up with tears during this confession. "Oh, for God's sakes!" his boss yelled back at him. "My son couldn't get a date to his high school dance. What's he supposed to do? Stay home and never go back to school again? Are you telling me you're weaker than a 14-year-old? Comparing his pain to a routine high school disappointment twisted the knife in his heart more. Social support and time are the only tools most have when it comes to recovery. Since the first one is denied to us men, we're left with the last one, which is one we'll have little control over. As a result, we feel more pain. That was when Jason began his Google search, looking for a solution to this never-ending nightmare. Eventually, he came across my Craigslist ad for the coaching business I just started a week earlier, which read, "Are you a man in deep emotional pain? Have you been dumped divorced, frequently rejected, left wondering what you're supposed to do when you're depressed and no one cares because you're not a chick. Do you want to put an end to the pain as fast as you can? Are you tired of feeling like you're being held back? Do you want your life to be reinvented into something far greater than it was before this tragic occurrence? Reply by email with the whole story of what happened. Feeling he had nothing left to lose? He followed instruction and sent me the following email. Good evening. The woman I loved the most just left me a few weeks ago. She won't speak to me at all. My life is going down the drain and all I can do is watch. I can't eat. I barely sleep, and no one gives a shit. If you have any magic for this, please help me. Jason. He included his phone number in the email. I called right after receiving it, and I confess my urgency was driven more so by, alrighty, finally a real customer, than by fear that he was ready to kill himself. That fear turned out to be true during our first counseling session, which made guilt my god and compelled me to see him through it all, even if he couldn't afford the $30 an hour fee for each of the hours he required. Bringing someone back from the edge, I discovered, was far more rewarding than any sum of money. Because as of today, Jason is with a beautiful woman that worships him, runs a successful business where he's the boss, and has a new social circle of friends to go dancing with. But on a larger scale, what the world can learn from this man is invaluable, and no dollar amount could cover its cost. Think of how many new people can have their lives touched by these recovered men, the hard work to create new innovations that will now be done, and the new sons and daughters that will be born now by the fact that many men will reject the urge to kill themselves because they heard stories like his. That is the first thing to think about in your recovery. What greatness will the world miss by you being absent? Much like the movie It's a Wonderful Life, there can be so much in terms of impact that you're not aware of. It may be hard to see right now, but the truth is that only one person so far believes you're not impactful, and that's her. But how much does that really matter? Because if we were to follow her for the rest of her life, at the end, you'd find her existence to be pretty inconsequential. Women from Gen X and later do very little with their lives. This is a result of the laziness privilege that the fempowerment mandate has given them. It is also the same mandate that encourages their solipsism to dump you in such a cruel and careless manner. You are better than this. Main takeaway. Think of all you can accomplish in this life. Think of all you have accomplished already, and how you can do even better than that this time. Then ask yourself, is she worth costing you all that?
Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book Benefit from Your Breakup by Cairo Copeland. If you enjoyed it and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/breakup. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/breakup.